The incredibly busy world of product, one of the toughest concepts I see, especially with, reactive executives and stakeholders, is product life cycles. You can move from concept to ideating to building and launching and maturing and then sunsetting. And people just don't seem to understand. We're all in our own silos. Most areas of the business are very reactive. They're we do something and we see the results pretty quickly. But in product, it could take years for us to think of something, build something, launch it, see success. And then after a few years in the market, it's time to start sunsetting that. So it's been really interesting to hear companies talk about this. And it's one of the biggest challenges they have with stakeholders. So I want to talk through these different product life cycles with you and the different ways we should think about success at each stage. The sales team thinks about this. They think about discovery and a qualified lead and building a business case and then selling the customer and then expanding. So we should do that the same thing with product. And it all starts with concept. So in the conceptual stage, everyone's optimistic. We're in the boardroom, we're thinking about how great this thing can be. We're thinking very high level too. We're typically at the whiteboard. We're thinking about what problem we solve. If this is even technically feasible, what our launch plan is, how we're going to go to market. And it's easy to hypothetically sell something. We always talk about the millions of dollars in sales we're going to see. And it's funny because none of us have ever worked on a product that actually was super easy to build or super easy to sell. But we forget that. The human brain is pretty crazy and we always forget. So in reality, we should have very little certainty at this stage. The second stage is ideation. So that's where, we begin to break this big complex idea and we start to realize how big and complex it really is. It's where we create 50 user stories and epics, and the product team loves this part. We're breaking a problem down, we're working with engineers, we're designing, and the business, they lean in, they're excited, we're getting started with their big idea. But often they don't get into the details. There's probably 50 plus holes in this ship we're about to push into the ocean. And what happens when a ship goes into the ocean with holes in it? It's going to sink. So we need to be careful not to just build here. That could be very dangerous. It's not just product. We need to think about distribution as a secondary product here. It's like offense and defense on a football team. We need to have a great product. We need to have a great distribution plan and a great customer success plan. We need to really plan out each part of this. We need to align as a business because we're about to launch this thing over the next 6 to 8 months. And we need to make sure that there's as few leaky holes as possible. And if there are, we're ready to listen and fix them. The third stage is the launch stage. So that's where we finish the work and we're going to take this to market. Everybody's all excited and there tends to be some big optimism here and we often get let down. We put it in the market and we don't get what we expected. Mike Tyson has a famous quote about, you never know what's going to happen until you get punched in the face. And that's what happens when we enter the ring. We push it out there, there's holes, it starts to sink. We have to fix those things really quickly. We probably stop focusing on strategic items after a big launch. It gets very into technical debt and fix mode. So during this stage, we're not going to see the hockey stick growth we expected. Go look at any hockey stick chart, these $100 million ARR companies, and you'll see there were 7 years of pain first. We need patience. We need everybody to understand that. And that's why understanding these stages is so important as well. This always seems to take more time than we expect. I like to say it's 5 times as long as we put on the initial chart for when we're going to actually see growth numbers start to come. And then there's the maturity stage. This is after we've launched it. It's out in the market. Many of our products that are out there today, we have baseline metrics. We know what engagement is. We know what activation is. So it's great to have these metrics. And this is where we start to look for incremental change. We're plugging holes, finding problems, and we can innovate based on what the customer needs. We can adjust our pricing model. We could build the next big feature. Yeah, we really need to drive revenue here with these products or drive cost saving. Whatever the impacts are, we want to start to measure those things and increase them one by one. So I just want to really think about these stages and have everybody understand them. The action item here is really to make sure we're just clearly articulating where we are in the process and where we're going, because people tend to get lost. They're not in product. You said you were going to build it. You said this was going to work. Why didn't it work? And that's a really dangerous thing after you spend millions of dollars launching something and everybody's disappointed, because we shouldn't be disappointed. we should be clapping our hands. We successfully finished that stage and we're entering a new stage. And that's hard. So every product, every feature goes through these cycles, and we need to make sure we understand them and clearly articulate them with the business. How are you doing that with your business? Thanks.